if your son or daughter will come to you and say they 8, 9, 10, and they say, "Hey, Paul, I want to transition." How would you handle that as that child's father, as your child's father?
Hello, Wiley. Hey, everybody
Hey,
else. Thanks for having me, Wiley. That's a good question. If being that I do have sons and I have grandkids, I would get my child therapy first, just to make sure that they are, certain that this is the road that they want to go down. And I would get them a lot of therapy. Um, Personally, I wouldn't let my male child or female child indulge in gender bending, wearing, female clothes or male clothes. I'm like, no, we're just gonna be, you're gonna be who you are right now because you still don't know who you are. So you're still on the road to discovering who you are. So I wouldn't make any rash decisions at all. I would just like, we're gonna put you in therapy for right now. And then once you get of age and you can make your own decision, and if you still feel like you want to go down that road, you go down that road all you want to, because some people that do have surgery, they regret it later. And it's not gonna be on me that at 15 years old, I had my child do a sex change, and now at 25, they're mad because they want a penis and they don't have one anymore. I mean, sorry to be blunt about it, but or your daughter then cut her breast off. Now she wants to have a child and breastfeed and everything. It's like, so it would be therapy. Now, are you talking about Dwayne Wade situation, correct?
Yes. Dwayne Wade, yes.
That particular situation, I have a problem with because I like that they are supporting her, but it feels like it's in our face, and it's like they're pushing it on us, and it's like we don't need to know what she's going through. I think like that, support your daughter, but why does it got to be in the public eye? Because if this goes bad in 10 years, we're gonna be looking like, but y'all was pushing for it. So I don't think they should be doing this in the public eye at all. So
do you feel like with the laws being changed, should parents that feel this way get more involved politically, because they're trying to change the laws and said, okay, let's the president, I want to know your thoughts, Sean Bradley, hearing him say, that a child should be able to transition, that you should be able to have a sex change.
No, that's just like the law that they changed to where in certain states a child can underage can have an abortion and they won't notify the parents. All of that is ridiculous. If you are under 18 years old and you're in my under my care, I need to know everything that's going on with you medically, and I need to be able to make that decision, not you.
That's a good point. I want to ask you your next action. When the president came out and said what he said, do you agree with the president that children should be able to have a sex change?
Without the parent,
Yes. Yeah.
with,
Do you agree with the president, his stance?
without the, I'm sorry, just to clarify, like
Oh,
without the parent's consent.
no, I don't know without the parent consent, even with the parent consent, because Florida, they trying to change the law to ban that. I believe Florida is one of the states trying to ban it. I know Texas, they trying to get a bill to do it, and have not read the bills, but what they're saying is they totally against it at all. Some states agree for you to change your name and your gender, but some states are trying to pass bills to say, hey, it's okay to transition, like that child should have that right. So I don't know if they taking away parental consent, but let's just say they're not taking away parental consent, but that bill is in place that a child can transition with the parental, approval. Do you agree with a law like that if a law is presented to your
I
state?
mean, yeah, if the parent is consenting, then yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect me
But you won't do it for you. You're not gonna do it for your child unless it was done.
unless diagnosed with gender dysphoria, like
Okay.
because, and the reason I say that is because if like the treatment for gender dysphoria is transitioning, like
Okay.
so if my child has been seen by experts, gone through therapy, done all of these things, like my job as a parent is to make sure that my child is successful. And if my son has been clinically, I keep saying son but child, but I have a son, so if my son was diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and this is like set in stone, this is like what he sees, he does not identify, he does not, what he sees is not what he identifies as, then like it'll be a tough pill for me to swallow. But again, my job as a parent is to set my child up for success. And I think a lot of parents, they they think of their children as possessions, like something they could just put on the shelf and just come back and grab. But like the child, at the end of the day, the child is its own autonomous like person. Like, yeah, you brought it into the world, but that's it. And you can raise it as much, I mean, as best as you can, but like at the end of the day, they're gonna go off and live their own life. So I have to make sure that how I'm what I'm doing for them is setting them up for success for when they do leave. So
I was a question. They said, "Do you agree that taxpayers should fund the surgery of a
no,
sex change?" Or you
absolutely not. No.
because one of my
No,
producers
no,
said she
no.
worked for the insurance company, and under President Obama, he allowed them. They, I guess, they cover on insurance to get the surgery, but President Trump, said no under his administration. But I'm going to pose it to you, Don, and I'm going to bring it to you, Shawn. Do you believe that taxpayers should pay for it? Should be able to fit the put the bill out there and say, hey, the taxpayers to be able to have to do to pay for that surgery. Do you think Medicaid and all that should cover it?
No, flat out no. But with the direction our country is heading in, I wouldn't be surprised if certain doctors and physicians and medical professions are getting kickbacks and things like that, incentives and bonuses, for the people who make such change. I mean, they did it for the coronavirus. Think about all the doctors who got kickbacks from Pfizer and Moderna for the patients they recommended to get the coronavirus shot. So, man, if any way and anything, everything we talking about, me, brother, you're next, and the brother say Sean Bradley, all the stuff that we're talking about, whether we for or against this, they're gonna find a way to try to make a profit from it. Trust me. That's how it's gonna go. This gonna turn into a profit type thing. You get what I'm saying? And so they're gonna try to line their pockets and push this agenda with money incentives. Think about it. How many of our people put their kids on medication for their government check? Well, what's gonna be the difference here? What's gonna be the difference? I'll leave it to y'all, the brothers. I'm just saying.
All right, Shawn, what do you feel? Do you feel like your tax dollars should go to a child sex change?
Oh hell no. First of all, I'm 41 years old and I have not stopped discovering who I am. So why would a child be able to say, hey, I want to be a boy or I want to be a girl when they're like 12 or 15, when their body hasn't finished developing, they haven't even had a wealth of experiences or anything like that yet. Again, I'm still discovering who I am on a certain level as I get older and older and older. And again, my fear is I've seen people that have had that transition and then they transition back. And it's like, so what was the point? Was it a phase? What's going on? And not saying that that's for everyone, because some people truly do transition and go the actual mile in a course or whatever. But I just think that's something that you should do when you're an age to where you can actually do it on your own and pay for it. Because if we're saying taxpayers should not pay for it, well, that leaves the parent to pay for it then. Who doing all that?
Well, I disagree. I think that the taxpayers should. I mean, we covering diabetes, insulin, $35 a cap, and it ain't my fault that Big Mama got diabetes. She should be able to afford insulin. So if we doing that and having Big Mama, the government do all that to have a high blood pressure pill, have giving insurance to the elderly, it ain't my fault that you became old, didn't have enough money to get yourself in a nice good nurse home. So if we covering them, then we should be able to cover Pookie and Ray Ray if they want a sex change. Honestly, I feel that way. If they're not going to do that for the children that want a sex change, then get Big Mama out that nurse home that's covered by Medicaid or Medicare, and get them out and tell them to pay for themselves. That's what I'm saying. So go ahead, your next. You disagree with that?
Yes, I mean, because we don't even have universal health care in this country. Like people they can't even go see a doctor like for a cold. So why would we prioritize a sex change operation before a person could go get their insulin, like for survival? Like
Well, a lot of people, HIV medication is covered a lot of times by government programs, and people argue it ain't my fault that you got raw dog, dirty, raw, and you caught this disease. Why should the taxpayer have to pay for that? And then you telling me that my beautiful daughter, she want to be a son and she want to be a boy, and you mean to tell me that the same taxpayer can't cover that? But you covered in Pookie and Ray Ray, they getting covered for HIV medication. They was out here raw guy in the bathhouse getting all wild in showers and have multiple threesomes, and they getting, did prostitution, etc. And we're covering that. But I feel for the parents. I feel for Kathy from Alabama. I feel for Maria from Houston, Texas, that are sitting there with their children saying, "Hey, wait a minute, my tax does cover a whole lot of shit that I don't agree with, but y'all still pay for it, and now I still have to pay into it. So why can't Hillary from Alaska be able to get a sex change paid by the government?"
Ryan, stop reaching. Stop reaching.
I mean, that's not reaching.
Say, man, stretch Armstrong. I'm talking about stretch Armstrong.
It's covered by the government. So why is that covering? And then you can't allow Catherine to get a section.
First of all, you conflating the issues, because again, when we talk about retirement care, nursing homes and stuff like that, there are levels. If you broke, you get the bare minimum. If you got money, you can afford to get better care. So let's start there. Just like with anything else, if you're broke, you get the minimum health insurance or whatever. You get minimum care. But if you got money, you get the red carpet, you get the royal treatment. So let's stop all that, because again, when you get into nursing homes, they take all your money because they provide around the clock care. And some people, they take all your money and you live, 20 years. Some people take all your money, you live 10 days. So it just depends. It's a wash at the end of the day, because we know a whole bunch of folks in the projects, grandmas and grandpas, is in the nursing home and they ain't had a job to say their life for 20 years.
Okay, let's talk about food stamps. I have to
wait, hold on. Hey, Wiley, can I say something to Shawn real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, say Shawn, like me, you, and you're next. So. Now think about this. Well, everything Wiley just said, and think about what you just said. Now everything that Wiley just said is almost exactly how the opposition is truly, really thinking about this. Like what Wiley's saying are tangible points, because that's how the people who are pushing this, those are the exact points that they're going to bring up in the argument.
Entitlements.
And yes, so Wiley, I understand, the Wiley Show, you're gonna bring the drum and stuff, but what you're really saying is, honestly,
what about Shaquita in the projects? She got 6 kids with 4 baby daddies. She don't know the 5th one, and it's covered with food stamps, Section 8, and that's paid by the taxpayers. And you mean to tell me,
like I said, Wiley,
people with their
see,
kids,
Wiley is saying exactly what I said in my comment.
I just don't understand.
Wiley's saying exactly what I said in my comment. They gonna find a way. That's my whole point. When I said that, they gonna find a way, brother.
But Don, to your point, and Wiley's point, when you say she got 5 kids and she don't know who the 5th baby daddy is, whatever, Wiley, and we're already taking care of them already. We've done enough. We're doing enough, and so we're doing enough to where you're comfortable with continue to have children that you can't take care of, that we got to take care of. When is enough?
And not to mention, also from a morality standpoint, like, you have to have food to survive. This surgery, you don't need it at the end of the day. Maybe for your mental health, but like to survive, no.
I disagree with that, because you went out there hoeing around getting these babies, and then you couldn't afford the 4th one. Now you got the 6th one, and the government, we paying for it, right? You get your food stamps, and then
so the kids should suffer.
Well, no, I'm not saying the kids should suffer. I said that mama didn't take her raggedy ass, and she needs to get a job and work 40 hours like everybody else. That's just not right. And then I'm single, no children, right? And I have to work slave at a job. And I have to work, and then I didn't make a decision to open up my legs, getting on my
That's a
back.
choice, Wiley. That's a choice. That's a choice for you to slave at a job.
You made a choice. Why should I have to fund your bad choices that you made?
Wiley, did you get a stimulus check? Did you get a stimulus check?
I did get a stimulus check. I think we all
got a stimulus check.
I didn't get one either.
No.
I got a stimulus check. Well, I ain't giving it back because they gave it to me.
Look at that.
No refunds.
What I'm saying is that if we fund and say we cannot fund that surgery, then we need to roll all the government programs back then, to be honest, because how can you say it's okay for this group to get government funding, but not for the children that want to transition? That's
well, Wiley, to the point that you're trying to make is this is a need versus a want. We need food, we need housing, we need clothing, we need Medicare. So that's why those things are provided. Okay, through our taxpayer dollars, that's provided. But you wanting to have a sex change, that ain't my issue. That's none of my business. That's none of my concern. And that should not be held by the weight of the country.
Yeah.
That's no choice. If I want a Lexus, I go buy a Lexus. You don't. The country don't afford me to buy a Lexus. That's something that I want.
What about that child that's getting bullied, want to transition and want to have this because this is a need? This is affecting their mental health. I argue that they need care too. What about them? If we have a welfare for Shaquita in the projects, we need to have welfare for the transgender children as well. They deserve to be heard. And if I'm spending my tax dollar for Shaquita and Pookie them and Ray Ray and them, why should I not help the Catherine and the Beckys? I need to help them as well.
I'm sure they do get covered in certain ways, like mental health. They can go see a therapist. I'm sure the insurance will cover that. But like as far as a whole surgery to transition because you're wanting to do that, no.
Why are we dividing the children, Wiley? Why are we saying trans kids and all kids are covered? All kids are covered at the end of the day. All kids are covered. How about that? Let's do that.
I get you said that all kids are covered.
Increase cigarette taxes to make sure that kids get free Medicare. Okay,
but you're saying that
and quit hating on Shaquita and her kids.
I'm not hating on her.
You being divisive right now.
We have someone
sounds a little haterish
in the chat. Star, you there? And Star, can you hear me? I don't know if
can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to come up and chime in on everything. So thank you for allowing me to come up. Going back to this last question that you asked about if this should be covered, no, it absolutely should not. I think that there are other more important health issues that are already not covered. Think about the people that are battling cancer. They can't even pay for or afford medications. Like, I just think this is a surgery that is by choice, and it is not, it's just simply not needed. I understand the want for it. I get it completely, but it's not something that is needed that is going to affect you living or dying.
Okay. And we got Queen Barbara. Queen Barbara, I want to pose a question to you, and then would you support your child? They come to you at 8, 9, 10 years old and say, Mama Barbara, I want to transition from a boy to a girl. Would you support that decision?
I would tell my child that to change your gender, sex has nothing to do with love. Okay? There will be someone on this earth that will love you unconditionally. The reason why I don't want you to have this operation is because when you get older and your body settles, it may be detrimental for your health and shorten your life expectancy, in my opinion, child. This is why I would talk to my child. So let me talk to you about a experience that I had with my daughter. My daughter is beautiful, one of the most beautiful Black women that was born on this earth. But when she was a little girl, all she wanted to do was boy stuff. I took her to TJ Maxx. All she wanted was the big red shiny car, the truck. She played with boys. I used to be trying to feed her dolls. No, this is the section you need to be in. She go right back to the boys section. She always plays sports. I go to the school. She's sitting at the table with about 50 boys, no girls, never had girlfriends. And one thing I heard this man saying how he would not support his child wanting to dress the way they wanted to dress. I would totally support that act. I would not be forcing the child. No, like I couldn't even take the Jordans till this day. My daughter's in her 20s. I can't take the Jordans off of her. She don't wear high heels like me and my daughter and be girly and cute. It's always a Jordan outfit. I'll be like, that look good, dude. Anyway, but that's how I treat my baby. But she's so beautiful, she can't keep the men off of her, but
right. I want to ask Star the question: if your child were to come to you and say they want to transition at 8, 9, go from one gender to the next, would you
Mhm.
support your child decision?
No, I would not support that, and the reason being is because I just feel like it's just too young. First off, I don't think a kid fully understands going under the knife. That alone within itself and what can come with that, to me, a child is not going to fully understand that. So I personally think unless we have to go under the knife, we're not going. Me, my child, none of my loved ones, if I had it my way. So no, I don't think a child can really even comprehend that. I actually have a 16-year-old son. Let me tell you something. He done changed his mind every other day. I done changed him to different schools so he can play sports. He done went from football to track to this to that. So I
Oh,
don't think a kid can comprehend something of that magnitude, like changing your whole identity and your body, because you may want to go back.
And we have to look at all of the.
Queen Barbara. Go ahead, Queen Barbara. Go ahead.
I would like for us to look at all of the people that have had the statistics of the people that have had the operation and then regretted it.
But Queen Barbara, I have a question for you. Out of those people, what financially, where were they? Because that's another question that I have. If you look at the folks that have had the surgery, prime example, Zaya, her parents are wealthy.
Exactly. And
so the average person, how can that type of burden to be put on a parent? How much is this costing? That's another equation that I don't think a lot of people talk about when we talk about these reassignment surgeries. The average person can't afford that for their child.
This is the reason why I would support the taxpayers paying for the surgery, because look at how the women go in the back doors and get the flat fix in their butt instead of the real stuff. They will go to cheap alternatives and kill themselves. So we need to support if they are mentally, this is what they want to do. We need to help them do it healthy as much as we can. If they're going to do it, we don't want to see them. We don't want to see people making underground surgery tables like they be doing and start mutilating these people like that. And then we'll get a lot of, just like when abortions was illegal, a lot of people was just doing it anyway and, deleting.
Well, in South Carolina, it's actually a bill on the table, if I'm not mistaken, for women who attempt to get an abortion to be put on death row.
Excellent.
I want your next ex, because he had his hand up. I want you to respond. Then I want Shawn reaction, because I see his facial expression. He got something to say. Your next ex.
So to respond to the genital mutilation thing, like if you're okay with circumcision, I mean, you're supporting genital mutilation. So that's that. And two, like in regards to the payment, that's why I think things like hormone blockers should be an option, because like in regards to the payment, yeah, if they go through puberty, like especially from female to, or from male to female, going through a male puberty and you're wanting to become a female it could be like irreversible. So like putting a kid on hormone blockers, just giving them more time to think and stuff like that, like giving yourself more time and another option. I think that's something that I would consider. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm just like pro trans and I'm fully support and fully behind this and everything like that. Like, no, there would have to be extensive therapy, extensive like doctor, like second opinion, third opinion.
When you say extensive therapy,
yes,
I'm paying it with my tax dollars.
No,
I'm paying for it.
No, you're not paying for it at all.
You're paying for it. So what
yes,
about,
it's my child.
What about Shaquita that's on welfare and her child want to transition? who is going to pay for that? Should she pay for it or should the taxpayers?
The daddy, maybe. Like
That
ain't me.
Yeah.
Well, then.
So should the taxpayers help her out or should the government?
Shaquita's gonna have to find a way to make it happen.
Okay, I hope it didn't with my tax dollars. No. Shawn Bradley, did you have something to say as well?
Yeah. Okay. So for one, Star, thank you for bringing up the point about Zaya is wealthy, so she will never know the feeling of a bad wig, bad makeup application, janky lashes. She will never go through the trials and tribulations that an everyday average child trying to transition and figure out how to apply a wig, a lace front, or any of that stuff. So she's coming out the gate already coiffed, already good, already just solid. So she will never have that experience of having, broken heels and things of that nature, where these other girls are trying to go to Walmart and figure out how to piece clothes together and whatnot. So this is apples and oranges. And so the everyday average person transitioning, their walk is completely different from Zaya's, for one, and also their walk is not in the public eye and making it seem like, oh, look how pretty she is now that she's dressed, now that she's a girl. Well, she has stylists and people to do her hair and everything else, and we don't have that. Also, Wiley, I think you're also turning people off. You keep saying Shaquita.
Because I don't know any white. I'm speaking from the hood. I grew up around Shaquita, and I'm
gonna say like this though, Wiley. Why you putting it on Shaquita is because we already know that the man ain't there. It's right. Already good.
And I go around and they get a lot of government assistance. And I talked to a lot of people, and they said this ain't right.
They get a lot of government assistance in Utah as well, so you can put it on Mary Claire and Emily Elizabeth as well.
I'm not
like 50 kids, people. White folks we are. But white trash is totally different than black people anyway. But also to Ms. Barbara's point about she's saying that if we don't fund transitions, they're going to go to back alleys. Those are choices. Those are wants. Those are desires. And your wants and desires are different from mine. And I should not be on the hook to fund your wants and desires, just like you shouldn't be funding my wants and desires. Now, funding your need, we can do that all day long. They said California is giving out doing free transitions and stuff like that. California has bigger problems with people on Skid Row. Skid Row is what, 10 miles, 15 miles long now. People are homeless everywhere. They can't pay their bills. So I think that the need of getting people off the street and getting the city cleaned up and getting people proper water and sanitation outweighs the need for someone trying to transition. I think if you ask people in Los Angeles, their money would probably want to go better to getting them affordable housing.
Okay, so you talking to a woman that is dealing with mental health issues, and it's very important. It's just like having cancer, and you cannot leave me mentally ill. You have to, I need support. I need medical support. So therefore, like, I'm just to be left because I'm poor and I can't afford
we can give you therapy. We can do therapy all day, baby. But other than that, I ain't paying for the chop.
Listen, I don't agree with no one getting chopped off. And that's so serious. The most beautiful thing in the world I ever set my eyes on was Magic Johnson's son. Because he didn't do anything to alter himself. He just loved to wear woman clothes and looked fabulous in it. And I was loving it. He didn't have to have no breast implants, no butt injections. You know what I'm saying? And I was just loving that. Healthy, beautiful, fine angel. And that's what I want transgenders to know. Like, if people cannot love you for who you are, then they are not for you. Okay? And sex has nothing to do with love.
But that's for anybody. That message is for anybody, though.
I want to get Just Zoe. Just Zoe is joining the panel from New York City. Go ahead, Just Zoe.
Hey, how are y'all? First of all, when it comes down to EJ Johnson, he's like 3 steps away from transitioning. The only reason why he's not doing it is because I believe that his father is not feeling it. I believe behind the scenes in the private of their own, in the private of their home, that's an issue, and I believe that's why he hasn't gone as far as fully transitioning. I mean, he wears the female clothes. He wears the heels, all of that. So he's like steps away of doing that. When it comes down,
you read an article stating that? You seen any information stating that he wants to change? I'm just asking.
Can I respond to that comment? I'm sorry.
Yeah, have you seen any article saying that he wants to transition?
he steps away of doing so. If you follow EJ Johnson from when he was 300 pounds and to now, his evolution is he's going in that route of transitioning. He's
Not just
going in
that,
that route.
Richie, did he say that? Because he's probably
No,
going.
he did not say that. But if you follow EJ Johnson and his transition into being a gay male when he first came out the closet to now, he's going in that direction of trans. He's going in that direction. He's going in that direction.
I want
Now,
to also bring
But
up.
like you said, if
I
he
want
went
to
in
bring.
that direction, he could have paid for that 10 times ago.
Wiley's
right,
trying to talk.
I want
Wiley's
to.
talking, guys.
I want to get
He's
your.
the moderator.
Yeah, I want to get your next X, and then I'm going to bring a question to the panel. Your next X, you go ahead.
So to respond to that comment, like the first thing I said was I would talk to my child and I would go to therapy. We would go to doctors, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, all of these things. So what how that person heard like what heard that I wouldn't take my son to therapy in that situation, like you have selective hearing, you need to pay attention, and yeah, like
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna happen. Like in panels, people just hear what they want to hear. They just hear this. The selective hearing is
I want to get Shawn Bradley
crazy.
to come on. People are leaving their comments here, and people are saying, one person said, this is the most ignorant panel ever. I don't know why they said it.
I'm going to say this, Wiley. When I
Yeah.
say chop, I'm not necessarily meaning cutting off your penis. I'm just saying cutting on your body in general, whether it's getting breasts, whether it's getting your breasts taken out. Why do you gotta go to chopping off the penis? I don't care what you do with your body. Just don't ask me to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. To your point, well, going back to, I'm sorry, were you finished? I'm sorry.
I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Going back to, I think your name is Your Next X. The
Yeah.
part where you said, so this is where the education piece comes in. You said something about if you support circumcision, you support mutilation. Well, to your point, a lot of mothers, especially those who have babies younger, they don't even understand what circumcision is. Never had the conversation, never even had anyone tell them. So that's to my point. As a child, you don't fully understand. You cannot fully comprehend. That's all I wanted to say because you said that a little while ago, so I wanted to bring it
Wait,
back.
I'm sorry. You said mothers don't understand, or
Yes, there are a lot of mothers, and I'm pretty sure. Chat, please help me out, especially teenage moms. You don't understand what circumcision is. You most just feel like that's what you have to do.
I think you should
I've
circumcise.
heard so many girls. I've heard so many girls like say all the time how disgusting uh uncircumcised penises are, and they wouldn't do anything with them and stuff like that. So like so I think a lot of it is like aesthetic. Like people they do it because of the aesthetic of it.
That's from a sexual standpoint. What I'm talking about is when you're having a baby, you're on that bed, and they come and take your baby to circumcise him. Most don't even understand what that is.
So, Star, are you for it or are you against it? Because I think all babies should be circumcised.
Exactly, me too.
Well, to again, I have a 16-year-old son. I got pregnant at 18, had him when I was 19. I didn't even understand that. I think if I would have been more educated on it, I possibly would have taken a different route. But
What route did you take?
he's
Medically, your
circumcised.
child circumcised. It's very dangerous not to have your child circumcised. Not have them circumcised because they get micro tears. It's not the best thing to leave them uncircumcised because sometimes it does not stretch like it's supposed to. And I'm speaking from experience. They should have circumcised.
That's the only real reason to get a circumcision is when the skin doesn't go over the head of the penis. But like any other, like if you pull the skin back, you clean it's completely fine. You just have to have proper hygiene. So like in that case, when the skin doesn't go back, like then yeah, that's when you medically need a circumcision. But like Any other reason is strictly for aesthetics.
I believe that the circumcision, the education of circumcision starts at home. I believe that a lot of women, a lot of mothers who do circumcise their children, their boys' penis, they learn that from home, from what their family do. Because circumcision is also a cultural thing, a religious thing. You know, there's certain religious groups that don't believe in circumcision. You know what I mean? There's certain nationalities that don't believe in circumcision. So I think that education starts from home,
I
and
agree.
that,
I, I, I agree with you on that. I want to pose this last question to the town hall because this question have come up in messages. They're saying, Wiley, we're not saying it's ignorant. We're saying that these beliefs that y'all on this panel is pretty much about the majority of African American people believing that, and it's coming off as transphobic. Do y'all believe? Do y'all don't agree that a child should transition? Do you agree with the belief that you should be labeled transphobic? Yes or no? Like, what's the thought on that? Because it's a viewer that believe that
I
you all
don't think
agree that
anyone
y'all.
on the panel is transphobic. Point blank, period. There's no one on the panel that's transphobic.
I,
That's what
That's
they
a
do.
reach right there. That's a reach.
So it's
I don't
transphobic.
think.
You want to pay
can
for it?
can I answer? Can I answer? I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. As a gay man growing up, I knew that I was gay when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I've had feelings of wanting to be trans. Growing up, I wanted to be a girl. I remember when in one instance, I was getting ready for school, and I didn't have no clothes on. I mean, I didn't have no clothes that fit me because I was, a growing boy. And I remember I had to tell my mother, I said, I want a dress. I want to wear a dress. And my mother slapped the holy mess out of me. And I really meant that I wanted to be a girl. But what I'm grateful for is that my mother allowed me to grow up and just be a child. Just, grow up and just be a child and be myself and grow to the man that I am now. And I'm actually grateful for that. And I believe that any child that has thoughts of wanting to be trans, think that the parents should allow the child to be themselves. Don't discourage them not to be it. Don't discourage them to be it. Just let that child grow up and be an innocent child. And every now and again, have little conversations with them as they get older. So, when they turn 16 or 17, you know by now what you really want, because in some cases it could be a phase. You know what I mean? So when they turn 16, 17, you pretty much know what you like. You pretty much know what you want to do, and then take them to the clinic and have that conversation. And to also speak on another thing real quick. When it comes down to um, trans women and trans men paying for their surgery, a lot of states do it for them. I know in New York State, Medicaid pays for reassignment surgery in New York State. I don't know about any other state, but New York City, a trans person can go to California or Cal Lordan, and they can start the process of getting a reassignment surgery. So I mean, it don't really cost. It's not really costly if you do it the get the funding from the government.
I just feel like that's unfair that they're getting a free check, a fat check from the government. And yeah, a lot of people are saying in the chat. I want to go to Shawn, then I'm gonna come to you. Your next Shawn.
I,
Can
I
I ask
gotta
you
leave.
first,
I'm
Wiley?
sorry.
So if we're on the hook to pay for it, what happens when 10 years later you want to transition back? Should we pay for that also?
I mean, you pay for it, Pookie and Ray Ray get more kids, and you give them more food stamps. So I mean, the argument stands. If you go in
But the,
there
but the
and do it
thing,
for them, they come back and bring some more kids. Oh, let's give them some more welfare. Let's give them some more Section A. Let's give them some more.
no, but
I
see
understand
that's
that.
the thing. I'm going to cut you off, but that's the thing. That's ignorant when y'all say, "Oh, what happens when they want to transition back?" There's very few trans people that ever think about transitioning back. They know who they are from the inside. Being a trans person is not on just about the outside. It's the inside. It's how you feel internally. They know.
Having transitioned back before.
Wait,
People have
can I?
There's trans people. I'm not gonna say no trans has never thought about transitioning back, but there's very few, a small percentage that have thought about transitioning back. What they probably regret is doing the underground stuff, like going to the pump parties and getting the silicone and things like that pumped into their system, into their body. If they would have did it the right way and went to an actual board certified physician to get their body done, then they would have been good with that. But there's really no trans that thinks, oh, I want to transition back. No.
So I think there's a I think that there's
their next X. Go ahead.
I think there's a disconnect between you two. Like that's what I'm saying. Like gender dysphoria is like the only way like you can. That's kind of like how to separate the two, because I think that there's a lot of social constructs, like maybe something happens to a woman, something misogynistic happens, and she may feel like, man, I want to disassociate with my gender as a woman, and I want to be more non-binary, and like she may think that she wants to transition, or something might happen to a biological man, and like something may happen to him as a kid, and he might get touched or something, and then it like stirs up confusion in his mind. But if they don't have gender dysphoria, then most of those things can be worked out through therapy. But like gender dysphoria, like the solution for that is transitioning. So I feel like that's a disconnect. But to answer your question about like the transphobia, like I'm not, like, everybody up here can pretend, but I'm not gonna pretend like the Black community isn't, like, there isn't so much homophobia and so much transphobia in the Black community, like, or like that we're all united and we all just speak, like, hold hands and sing kumbaya, because we don't. Like, and to say anything else is, you're not only lying to yourself, but you're lying to everybody up here.
I want to bring opinionated. That was a great point you brought up, and I want Shawn reaction to that. I see his facial expressions. Opinionated with a side of shade. Sister, you're there.
Hey, Wiley, how are you?
Yes, you are a mother, and if your child come to you at 6, 7, 8 years old and said they want to transition, would you support? And the second question would be, do you think the government should fund sex change?
Well, honestly, Wiley, I'm a bonus mom.
A bonus mom, yes, ma'am.
And my son is part of the LGBTQ plus IA community. He's more masculine presenting, but I support him in whatever he wanted to do.
So if he were to come as a bonus mom and come and say at a certain age, let's say 8 or 9, and said want to transfer a boy to a girl, would you support your significant other and say, let's support this, or would you be against it?
Not at that age. I mean, now he's grown, he lives on his own, he's in DC, but not at that age. I think you have to give, just like your mind has to mature, I think your body has to mature too. And, give yourself a chance to figure out who you are in life. Yes, you can be presented as a non-binary. You can present any type of way you want to. And I do understand that race is just a social construct. I understand that part, right? However, it's still what it is amongst most people in the nation. I do think you have to give children a chance to develop.
That's right.
All right.
That's it.
Yep.
I want to, Shawn, did you want to, Don, did you want to, or Shawn, did you want to add something to it? Wow, it's so many people is reaching out to me saying they wanted to say something, but our time has reached the max. We wanted to make sure that it was like an hour and I want to thank you to Shawn, content creator, YouTube. I love this brother. We've been in the trenches together. Opinionated with Side of Shade, been on her for a while. Queen Barbara, me and her been going back and forth for a long time. Your next ex, thank you. Jess Zoe, thank you. Brother Don, thank you Do anybody want to announce like their channel, any future projects y'all got up that y'all want to announce to the people?
I do.
Go ahead, Quay Barbara.
I want Black Americans to go to my channel because I want us to fight for reparations and sue for affirmative action. We got to sue the NAACP, Red Cross, and everybody and get reparations and leave the United States of America. I want Black Americans to stop being tricked by the Democratic Party because there's nobody but the South that wants to destroy America, just like we destroyed their descendants.
All right.
My page, I have 2 pages. Apartments available in New York City and then Queen Barbara with only 22. My page is not for likes, and I'm the Underground Railroad for information. I am exposing lawyers and judges stealing money in Tompkins County, Ithaca, New York, and I want us to sue those lawyers and judges and take that whole county.
All right.
I said it and I meant it. Judge Rossler, Judge Peacock, the damn sheriff that killed Corey Henderson, you are going to be indicted. The whole county.
Miss Barbara.
Full of lawyers.
Miss Barbara, okay. Miss Barbara, okay. we got the whole rundown. Don, do you want to announce the person? Because I know you and I, you host a clubhouse every Monday, and Friday. Oh, Don, there's a lot going on in the background. Don, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do you want to let the people know about that? Because you do host a clubhouse.
Yes, I have. I host a clubhouse about real estate. Just about real estate and the do's and don'ts, and kind of like everything you want to know as a beginner. The real things you need to focus on. So it's almost like how to play the game the right way. You know, a lot of people get into real estate and they do everything but play Monopoly. So I teach you how to play Monopoly. Let's beat them at their own game. You know what I mean?
Yes. I want to say thank you for you all coming together. I was so surprised to see Shawn. I'm like, oh my gosh, he showed up. We hosted another town hall. The host is about how meth is destroying the Black LGBT community. And we're going to be talking about that in our next town hall, discovering that. So if you are a meth addict, if you want to come on, if you're a meth dealer, you want to talk about how you can come on. If you're a pimp, we are more than welcome. We want to hear your story. But if you go to jail, don't hit me up for no bail money. But we're doing another town hall, and we will allow broadcast that in the future. But thank y'all so very much. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show. Again, Jess Zoe is coming back in the summer because he has been in this thing for 15 years. And so he will be coming back with his show in the summertime. And thank you, Star. I see you, Star. You're shining bright like a diamond for coming in. Opinionated with Side of Shade. This is amazing, and this was good. I know everybody didn't agree with me. I know Shaquita and them in the project don't agree with me, but if we can pay for them to get food stamps $500, $600, and the Wileys of the world slaving at a job have to work 40 hours and can't qualify for food stamps, why are they able to get food stamps? I'm just saying. All right, so we had good night. Bye, y'all. Okay, there we go.